First name is Clyde, C-L-Y-D-E. Last name is Fruth, F-R-U-T-H.
F-R-U-T-H.
Right.
Wow, it's like a fruit plus truth.
Yeah.
Huh? Does that have ethnic origin?
German.
Is it German?
Yep.
So are you German American?
Yep. My great-grandfather was from Germany.
Uh-huh. All right. What is your birthday?
8/10/31. I'm an old duffer.
Yeah.
A lot of them that age was in Korean War.
Exactly.
My age.
Yep. And where were you born?
Born in Southern Illinois.
Southern Illinois.
Yep.
Well,
The name of the town was Marissa. M-A-R-I-S-S-A.
Marissa.
Mm-hmm.
And tell me about your family when you were growing up. Your family, your sibling, your parents?
Okay, well, I was born actually on a farm near Marissa. And my dad was, of course, a farmer. And we still lived on the farm when I was up to when I was 13 years old. At that time, my brother was called for the Korean, not the Korean, but the World War II. And so when he left, my dad was unable to farm by himself. And so with no help, we moved off of the farm and he got a different job.
So you have only one brother?
Yep.
No sister?
all. No sisters.
Okay.
I was the sister in the family.
And when did you graduate your high school?
That was class 49,
Which is 1949.
1949.
What high school?
That was Marissa,
Marissa.
yes.
And what did you do after that?
I started working in a grocery store, learning to be a butcher. And that's what I was doing when I was called to go in then.
So mostly butchering cow?
Cows, pigs, yeah.
And you need sort of knowledge, a lot of knowledge to do that, right? You have to know the parts and you have to exactly cut out those parts, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Cutting the steaks, cutting the roast, making sausage,
Ah.
the whole works.
What is your favorite part from the cow?
From the cow, probably good steak.
Good steak?
Yeah,
Where do you get the best one?
best steaks. For since I moved up here, that would be
No, from the cow, what part?
that would be the ribeye steak.
Ribeye steak.
Yeah,
So those are the between ribs?
yeah, in between the ribs there.
Oh, I feel hungry already. So, let me ask this question. Did you know anything about Korea at the time that you were graduating and working in the grocery store?
No,
Nothing?
no.
Any other country that you knew in Asia at the time?
Japan, probably.
Why? What?
Because of World War II and everything. Talking to some of them. In fact, my brother drove a duck, taking the infantry guys on shore in the islands in the South Pacific. And excuse me. And that's what that's why I knew something about Saipan Island. That's actually where he was at, which was under the jurisdiction of the Japanese.
But you didn't know anything about Korea, right?
Nope.
Yep.
No, sir.
What do you think? You are the Korean War veteran now. You were there in Korea, right?
Oh yeah,
So the country that you never knew, right?
yeah.
And now you are Korean War veteran. How do you link that dots? What do you
Well-
think about that? Why did it happen to you?
Well, happened to a lot of them at that particular time.
But to you,
to me,
yeah, why?
Well-
How do you put it into a perspective?
a good way would be that they tried to kill me, but I made it home alive.
They tried to kill you,
Well, yeah, the enemy
and
every day, every day,
mhm.
artillery and mortar rounds coming in on us.
And the country that you saw in 1950 in the Korea, and the country right now. Do you know there is a?
I know how it is.
Tell me.
I went back over there in the year 2010.
Mm-hmm.
I took my son so he could see the lay of the country and the mountains and the hills and stuff that we had to climb.
Yeah.
And it was fabulous. There's one little sector close to our hotel that they left 3 or 4 blocks long. They left all the old buildings there, the grass huts, all of that. And then you look over a block from there, and the hotel that we were in, 53 stories tall.
Mm-hmm.
You know, unbelievable. Unbelievable. And the Capitol building, I think that's 78 stories. That's I'd have never believed it if I hadn't gone back.
Right. What was there when you were in Korea in 1950?
Grass huts, mainly grass huts. That's that was their way of life. That's all, you know.
Well, you were in Seoul, right, in 2010.
Yep.
You were in Seoul in 1950s. Did you see the Seoul?
No, I never got to Seoul. No.
Where were you?
Further north.
Further north.
Yeah, right on the MLR, main line of resistance.
So what would you tell to the American people who believes that the Korean War is forgotten war? What would you
Well-
tell them?
To some degree, that's true,
And
because it was put in between, or it occurred in between World War II and Vietnam, so it was kind of lost in the shuffle.
but as you just told me that there has been unbelievable transformation took place in Korea.
Right.
So
right.
why should it be forgotten?
Well, I think that's a term of the past now, because I don't think it's as forgotten as it had been, and it's a lot of it because of men like you. Just like when I was there in 2010, they assigned a sophomore girl to ride with me in the same seat, and she picked my brain the whole time we were on the tour. And then she had to turn her paper into the classroom. I think she was a sophomore. And later I got a letter from her, and she ended up getting an A on her report.
Oh.
So she was happy.
So that's the term of the past, forgottenness, right?
No, we relive it around here. We still relive our chapter pretty well, because we do things that to make the people see what's going on. We have a float that one of our members pulls in the parades, and it plays patriotic music. And of course, it's got our signs on it and everything. It's it's something to draw the people's attention, and they stand along the parade route, you know, thanking us. And we go to 8 different parades during the year, during the summer. And it's tear-jerking. A lot of the members who was like me, went through some rough times over there. They just can't believe it's happening, that we're getting all the thank yous that we do.
Mm.
So it's not forgotten anymore. We're making them think about it.
So our history textbook in the school only talks about one paragraph, and Vietnam has much more than that.
Right.
How do you think we can correct that problem?
Well, alertness, that's what you're doing, and that seems to be working. And the fact that we're out, and I think a lot of the other chapters have either march in the parade, or they've got a car they ride in, or a truck, or whatever it might be. So excuse me, I think that's what's bringing it back to people's minds.
So tell me about when you joined the army.
Okay, I weighed a whole 132 pounds, I think it was. That's all. It wasn't very big.
Mm.
My brother was 6'3". He ate everything away from me.
So when did you join the army?
That was actually, it was the National Guard, and they were to be activated the following year, and so that's when we got our call.
What year was that?
That was 1952.
And did you get the basic military?
Oh yeah.
Where?
Then we went to basic training, Camp Cook, California.
Camp Cook.
Yeah. It was an old air base during World War II.
And what was your MOS?
Radio telephone operator,
Mm.
which in Korea meant you were going to be a forward observer,
Mm. So,
which was not good.
right, that's a very dangerous mission, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
It's got to be far front of the,
Every day they tried to kill us.
yeah.
Every day.
And
Because, I don't know whether you know a lot about that, but we called in the artillery, you know, to fire and hit the enemy. And if they knock out the forward observers, there's nobody to tell our men back at the artillery where to shoot, you know, where to fire.
So when did you leave United States for Korea? When?
That would have been in the fall of '52.
Do you remember the month?
I think it was. October. By the time we got there, it was turning cold weather already.
So you left from San Francisco or Fort Lewis?
Fort Lewis.
And where did you go there? From there, did you go to Japan or?
Yep, we made 26 hours in Japan just to get some of our supplies. And then the next.
How was supply? Was supply good? The guns and others, uniforms, were they good?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, quality stuff. Yeah, we were.
And then from Japan to Korea, where did you arrive? Incheon?
Incheon, yeah.
So tell me about the Incheon that you saw. How was it?
Actually didn't get to see a lot of it because of right off the ship, you know, down the ladder and onto small landing craft, I guess it was. and then a train ride to Chuncheon, and then a truck ride to my outfit.
What was it?
90th Field Artillery Battalion,
Yeah.
Battery A,
Yep.
25th Division. That's this patch here. On
25th,
my
right?
sleeve, yep,
Yeah.
25th Division.
That used to be in Hawaii, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So where was your location? Do you have a name?
At that time, it was. Let's see. Let me think a minute. I think the first place we were at was the Shorewon Valley.
Cholwon Valley?
Yeah, Shorewon Valley, right.
And so you arrived in Chuncheon and then you went up to north again?
Yep, kept going north, yeah. That's where the fighting was at that time.
So did you stay in Cholwon all the time or did you move around?
Oh, we moved around. Yeah, we moved around.
Any other place you remember?
Well, the last place was on the western front. The hills were Berlin and East Berlin.
Uh-huh.
And that was held by the 1st Marine Division.
I see.
And we shared our observation bunker with the Marines of the 1st Marine Division.
Mm-hmm. So tell me about your mission, that what you were asked to do and how dangerous that was. Any episode that you want to share with us? Tell me, please.
Okay. Our job was to eliminate the enemy. And, excuse me. It was our job to locate the enemy, especially artillery, heavy equipment, anything of that nature, and also the enemy themselves, and call in fire missions, either by our radio or telephone, depending on which we were using at the time, and call in the fire mission and give them the location. And of course, the artillery, they did all the workings of the coordinates and the azimuth and all of that. And then they would start firing, and we would give them our assessment of what destruction we did, and make any changes in where their rounds were hitting, where the artillery was hitting. So from that point on, we're continuing to look day and night for the targets. And in the meanwhile, they were firing at us too. Never a day went by. I think I write in one of my books that it was everyday occurrence. Be ready to hit the dirt, and of course we had helmets on, but still you put your hands over there, and especially to protect your eyes and face. And actually I was never wounded, but the artillery and mortar rounds would hit the rocks, and then the rocks, that's what's left of the rocks hitting my arm.
It's like a rock shrapnel.
right, just like the shrapnel, yeah. But it was the pieces, little pieces of rock, and the lieutenant that was with us the day that, or one of the days that happened, he said, "You need to go to see the medics. You'll get a you'll get a Purple Heart for that." And I said, "You can take your Purple Heart and do this with it. I just want to get out of here with the skin on my rear end yet."
How many men in your team, and what are those roles? You know, the
Right.
forward
Observers,
observer. How many men there, and what are the roles?
Okay.
And tell me your role. What was your
Okay.
role? Yeah.
yeah. There was a second lieutenant.
Mm-hmm.
He was always in charge. Then there was me. I was a corporal. And then most of the time there was a private or a private first class.
Mm-hmm.
And it was everyone's role to spend some time,
So just three?
yeah.
Wow. So who does do coordination?
Well, the lieutenant, if he's not doing something else at the time.
Mm-hmm.
The private usually was running, do this, do that, whatever, doing all the oddball jobs and so on. I spent most of my time either on binoculars or, don't ask me what the verbiage is for it, but it was known as a BC scope. And it had like a periscope on a submarine. It went, you looked in, but then it went up
Yeah.
and then out like that,
Mm-hmm.
because it stuck up further than up to our opening in our aperture,
Yeah.
the aperture of our hut that we were in, bunker that we were in. So you didn't want to be up there looking around because the sniper would get you. So you.
What do you call that?
Huh?
What do you call that?
The snipers?
No, scope. The one
BC.
B
B, like in B, A, B,
Uh-huh.
B.
BC scope.
Yep.
What is BC stand
That's what I don't remember.
for? Okay, we'll find it out.
That was verbiage that we used for that scope.
Right. So just three. Wow, that's so tell me about, you must have a lot of episode that almost killed you, right?
Oh yeah, our bunker got hit.
Tell me about the typical day. When do you do those? Do you do that at night or in the
Oh,
early
no.
morning, or so tell me typical day of your mission as a forward observer.
Okay, once you'd get up, if we had any food that usually the mess sergeant, when we headed up there, we'd be up there 3 days, as I remember. And then, no, that's wrong. I think it was 5 days up there, and then we go back in our outfit for 3 days, get clean clothes, some more supplies, some ammunition for our weapons, for our rifles, and then back up to the hill again. That's what we called it, up to the hill. It was always on a our bunker was always on a hill.
Yeah.
Once we got there, we'd relieve the other team, and of course they'd go back with the Jeep driver. And then once we got in and got our change of clothes and everything put away, then we would relieve the other party, and they would leave, and we'd start getting on either binoculars or BC scope. One guy on the BC scope, and trying to find our targets.
So it was mostly during the day?
Well, we also did some at night, but there's a limit in what you can see at night.
Right.
You know, unless the enemy is approaching us very close, then it's a whole different story. Of course, there was always a infantry unit right down below us in front of our hill. And of course, that varied from the different units of the 25th Division. Also, for a while, the Turks were our supporting infantry. And you don't find them any better than that. Although the 25th Division was second, almost second to none. And a guy you had yesterday in here speaking with you, Faley, that was his division, the second, and he always kept telling me and teasing me that, hey, we were second to none.
Yeah.
Not even you guys, he said.
He's Irish guy.
Yeah, there you
I
go.
like him very much.
Yeah.
So tell me about what really the most difficult thing to you during your service in Korea. What really bothers you, or difficult thing that's really hard to stand?
Well, one thing that was really rough was on days when we had a lot of snow, and the Jeep would only go so far up the side of the hill, or mountain, whatever you want to call it. And so we would have to carry what we had, which was your pack, your rifle. You may have a bandolier of ammunition for your carbine. M1s we didn't have. That was infantry. We had M2 carbines, M2 carbines. And so you'd have some ammo. And then some of them would be carrying additional C rations, because after the mess sergeant would always send us up with some fresh stuff to eat. But you run out of that after about a day or two, and then we'd be eating C rations for the last 3 or 4 days we were there.
So heavy to carry, right?
Right. And then the problem was we had to carry water up there. So a lot of times you'd have your whole pack and everything, plus you'd have 2, I guess they're 5-gallon cans of water. And the last 100 yards was bad.
Yeah. And it was very hilly and mountainous, so
Yeah,
so hard.
very hard.
I was there. Yeah. Did you write a letter back to your family?
Oh yeah.
What did you write about?
Well, I didn't. The letters I wrote to my mother, I never talked about the real bad things, because I didn't want to worry her any worse than she was. But I'd write to my brother or some of my friends and give them the real story,
What was the real story that you told them?
day by day.
What?
Day by day, you don't know whether you're going to survive or not.
You were scared.
Because, yeah, every day you'd have incoming rounds. A lot of times snipers would sneak up there close as they could and try to take pot shots at us. Along with that, there was a unit that the enemy had a little 45 I think it was 45 caliber or something of that nature. And one guy would carry ammo and a rifle, and the other guy would carry this little shooting apparatus that they had, which was supposed to be 45, I think, caliber, and they would sneak up through the trenches as close as they could. And then as soon as they saw you, they'd fire on you. So you had to keep your eyes open all the time.
That's really scary, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Bad as a sniper, only that thing had more power. Instead of caliber, that might have been millimeter. I don't know. It had a projectile about that big around.
Does that bother you? Still? Still?
Oh yeah, sometimes.
How?
Well, if I get to talking to other guys and so on, or sometimes I wake up and think about it. Not all the time, but once a month or something like that.
Oh. You have a PTSD?
No,
No?
no,
Thank God.
no.
So you were not wounded at all?
No.
Wow, that's lucky, isn't it?
Yes, I was. Very fortunate. Somebody was looking after me.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's looking after me.
Wow. That's amazing. And how much were you paid?
I'm trying to think whether it was, I think it was 45 a month,
45?
$45.
No, it was more than that. You have a combat pay too.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So altogether about 100, right?
Yeah, with the combat pay thrown in, yeah.
So what did you do with that
And I
money?
got it every month. Every month that I was there, I got combat pay.
Mm-hmm.
I think you had to have, like artillery guys, you had to have, let's see. I think you have to be fired upon like four times, I think it is 4 or 5 times a month.
And what did you do with that money?
I sent it all home.
To whom?
To my mother, and she put it in the bank.
Uh-huh.
So when I got home,
Mm-hmm.
I was able to buy a 1953 brand new Ford.
Wow. That's good. And
that was only $2,000 for a brand new 53 Ford.
were there any Koreans working with you?
At times we had the rock division was our supporting infantry.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and they were good guys. I have pictures of some of them.
Really?
Oh yeah,
Did you bring it with you?
oh yeah.
Let me see it later. And what do you think about the Koreans at the time?
Well, hey, I think the police action days are over with. I mean, they were not policemen. That's what they thought they were named them to begin with. But they were good warriors from what I could see of them. I wasn't sticking my head out of our aperture opening that often to look at them. But yeah, they were as soon as incoming rounds started coming in, they were in the trenches and ready to go.
Did you have a chance to go to visit Seoul or other part of the Korea at the time?
When I went back in
No.
2010,
When you were in 19.
Oh, well, one time while I was back in reserve, they asked me to drive a 3/4 ton truck back to have something done with it, and another guy came with a Jeep and picked me up. That was my only look at Seoul. I did take some pictures of it at that time.
Mm-hmm. How was Seoul?
Some places pretty well beat up. Capitol building, all the windows shot out of it. All of that, yeah, not a good picture. Not a good picture. Train stations, I don't know whether I brought that book with me or not. But train stations, they was pretty well riddled up and shot to heck.
So when you go back, when you went back in 2010, you were able to see the much difference.
Oh Lord. Yeah, like my son, he didn't see it to begin with. So he was, man, it don't look like they ever had a war here. He kept saying that every day. Look at that building over there, and look at this, look at that. Yeah, unbelievable.
You are the living witness of those transformations made by.
Yeah. And I told somebody yesterday that you already interviewed, Leland. I said, you're a fool if you don't go back. And I tell my guys, all the members of our chapter, you guys are missing the boat. You need to see what you helped do.
And that is your legacy.
That's it right there.
Right there, right?
We helped do what there is today there. And I'm proud of it.
You should be.
Very proud of it.
Yeah. When did you left Korea?
Right after the ceasefire was signed.
So it was 1953.
Yep. In July 25.
When you left Korea, did you ever thought that Korea would become like this today?
No, that's too much of a transformation. That's hard to believe. Yeah, and my daughter lives with me, and she says, I sent you to the store for 3 items, and after you're there a little while, you call me back and you say, I got the first 2, but I can't think of the third one because I didn't write it down. But she says, you could be talking to somebody in person or on the phone, any of your other Korean War veteran guys, and she says, you'll remember every little detail of what happened. And I said, well, when it happens every day, it sticks with you for a long time. All them years from 1952 to now, 85 years old, I still remember all them little details.
What would you say if you have a 1 minute and asking you to tell about your service and Korea that you see now? What would you tell in 1 minute?
Oh my. I don't know what I'd pick out for the most important. It would be hard to do because every day there was the same thing. Over,
I'm asking you to do it.
Over.
You are the commander of chapter 150. You should be able to do it.
Well, probably something that stuck with me the most was when we went back in 2010. Every person you met on the street stopped, bowed to you, and thanked you for your service. That was tough for me, and when I think about it, it still it's still tough for me. I would have to stop and spend a little time just standing still and looking the other way, and my son would ask me, you know, do you think you want to avoid those people on the street? And I said, no, I don't want to avoid them. I said, this is what it was worth right here. Kind of tough on me.
Yeah. The Korea in 1950 was really destroyed, miserable, poorest country, one of the poorest country in the world. You didn't know anything about it. You went there, you sacrificed your life every day, right?
Yeah.
At risk, because you are at the far front line of the the MLR, right?
Right,
Yes. And because of your honorable service and fight, Korea was given to rebuild their nation, and they are now 11th largest economy in the world.
Unbelievable.
It's a miracle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I think God blessed your sacrifice and your service. And you are actually extending your hands to the least of the brothers and sisters of Jesus. You know? So you took care of the least of the people. And I think that is the legacy of the Korean War. And we want to teach that.
And that's why that little sophomore from high school rode on the bus with me. I didn't know that it was going to happen until that morning, and then she was introduced to me by one of the other people that was lining up our tour for that day.
Any other detail that you didn't share with me today that you want to leave to this interview?
Well, it's sort of a negative, because some of the GIs, I think, went overboard in things like seeing a Korean man with A-frame and hauling whatever it was, straw or whatever, for his animals. And they'd be driving along the road, and they'd get close enough to where they bumped him enough to push him off of the road.
Why?
I saw that. Crazy.
Why? Why did they do
I
that?
don't know. Crazy. Because maybe, first of all, they didn't know anything about Korea or the people or anything else. The fact that they're not selfish, you know. They weren't causing us. They were our friends, actually, and a lot of them gave us things and whatever. You asked me earlier about whether I spent much time in Seoul. No, not much. But I had to take the. I was back in my unit rather than up on the forward observer position. And they asked me to drive a vehicle, 3/4 ton truck, back to Korea, and take these. We had our cooks were Korean, and was supposed to haul them back there to go to the bank, because they changed the Korean won, and these KPs would have a shoebox full of money they were taking in to the banks, and coming out with a little thing like this was all there was left. That was in as in 52 or early part of 53. Any rate, took him there, and then the one KP took us to his home for a little food and a little rice and something else. I can't remember what it was, but so we met his whole family, and we had a little food, and we were on our way again back up to where we were.
What is Korea to you personally now? You didn't know anything about Korea, 1950, and when you're growing up, you went there twice. What is Korea to you personally?
Heck of a good country, I can tell you that. Had to be. And the people that put this all together, the fact that they are leaders in the world now, rather than just another little old country somewhere hidden away from because of other countries around Japan and whatever. So, yeah, they did one heck of a job, no doubt about it.
Are you proud?
Oh yeah. Proud of the fact that I was a part of it. A small part maybe, but a part of it.
That's it. On behalf of Korean Nation, I want to thank you for your fight for Korean Nation. And we're going to use this material so that teachers and students can listen from you and learn from you about the legacy of the Korean War.
Think it was worthwhile?
Yep. Yep. Thank you, sir.
All right, you're welcome.